Well, it's Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's time. We're going to start. We're going to start with this one. Streamline Cannonball. We're doing trains today. What I love about this song, it's got that lope of a train rolling along over the track. Can you hear it? Can you make a little sound with me? Go. Can you do that with me? Here we go. She moves along like a cannonball, like a star in her heavenly flight. You can hear the sound of the whistle that blows as she travels through the night. Well, it's a long steel rail and a short cross tie. Said I'm on my way back home. Well, the train I ride, it's the king of them all. It's the Streamline Cannonball. She moves along like a cannonball. She moves along like a cannonball, like a star in her heavenly flight, like a star in her heavenly flight. Well, the train I ride is the king of them all. You can hear the sound of the whistle that blows as she travels through the night. Well, the headlights gleam out into the night, and the fireballs flash, yes, you can see. Well, I ride these rails 'cause it's the life that I love, and it's home, sweet home to me. Here we go. She moves along. She moves along like a cannonball, like a star in her heavenly flight. You can hear the sound of the whistle that blows as she travels through the night. You can see a smile on the engineer's face, though he may be old and gray. Well, it's not too hard for him to wait for his call. He's on the Streamline Cannonball. Last time she moves along, she moves along like a cannonball, like a cannonball, like a star in heavenly flight, like a star in heavenly flight. You can hear the sound of the whistle that blows. You can hear the sound of the whistle that blows as she travels through the night. Hear the sound of the whistle that blows as she travels through the night. Woo! Streamline Cannonball. Taylor wants me to sing "I Love to See You Smiling at Me," and I will do that. I'll do that a little later. Right now we're doing train songs. And I just want to stay on that theme for a little bit because it's a fun thing. Let's see. Let's do the one Adam requested. Let's do that. Let's see. What key was I going to do this in? Here we go. From the great Atlantic Ocean to the wide Pacific shore, where the queen of flowing waters does the bells come by the shore. She's long, tall, and handsome. She's loved by one and all. She's a modern combination called the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble, and the roar, riding through the woodland to the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engines, hear the lonesome hobos call, riding through the jungles on the Wabash Cannonball. Now the eastern states are dandies, so the western people say, from New York to St. Louis and Chicago by the way, through the hills of Minnesota where the rippling waters fall, no chances can be taken on the Wabash Cannonball. Hey, listen to the jingle, the rumble, and the roar, and riding through the woodlands, through the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobos call, riding through the jungles on the Wabash Cannonball. Can you imagine standing next to an engine that size? The picture behind me there? Look at that engine. It made such noise. Rushing by, oh my gosh. Wow. Woo. Trains. I was part of a project called The Great Railway Adventures. And it was a set of books, and it was narrated by LeVar Burton. This was back in the days of cassettes. And LeVar Burton narrated the stories, and I did songs on them. And if you could just get the book and the cassette, or if you got the whole thing, there was a box that had the train in it. And this one's called Beezy's Big Boy. And it's a story about a boy who really wanted to be on this new train that they were making. The big boys, there's a whole little story about this, about the boy, but here's a little bit about these things called big boys. When the huge engines were first being built, the biggest ones ever, called big boys, a worker wrote big boy on one with a piece of chalk. Someone took a picture and the name stuck. These were the biggest ever steam locomotives built. There were 25 of them, and they ran between 1941 and 1959. The engines were 132 feet long, and some of their wheels were 68 inches high, as tall as a grown man. Wow. When a big boy was fully loaded with coal and water, the engine and tender, the tender was the coal car behind it, weighed over 1 million pounds. Wow. They could carry 100 freight cars. Wow. So they asked me to write a song for this, for that book, Beezy's Big Boy, and this is the one I wrote. It's fun. It's about a train that runs from Chicago to St. Louis. I said, away, it's a conversation between a passenger and the train, the locomotive. I said, where are we going? Whoa, mighty Mr. Train. He said, we're bound for St. Louis, on to Memphis, and then on down to New Orleans. On down to New Orleans. I said, how said there's plenty of coal in the coal car. Just keep feeding the flame. Just keep the fireman feeding the flame. On the coal trains, back then, they had a fireman. Not a fireman like a fireman in your town riding a fire engine. This was the guy who put coal in the fire. They kept the steam going that powered the train. So they called him the fireman because he was feeding the fire with the coal. Yeah. I said, oh, why do you do it? Whistling through the valleys and the plains. He said, see the mighty Mississippi running yonder. We're racing down to Pontchartrain. Racing on down to Lake Pontchartrain. Who do you think got there first? The river or the train? I said, when will we get there? I said, how will we know? He said, when you see the mosses hanging from the trees and the land laying way down low. The land's laying way down low. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ride is over. What happens then? He said, before you check in to the fancy hotel, I'll be riding these rails again. I'll be off rolling back home again. I said, how do they call you? I said, what is your name? He said, you'll know me by my lonesome whistle blowing and the bright red fire of my flame. The burning red fire of my flame. Ooh, oh my gosh. Beezy's Big Boy. Those were big trains, weren't they? Goodness gracious. All right, well, we have to do the most famous train song of them all. My favorite. I mean, it's really one of my favorite songs, favorite American folk songs of all. It's one of the best songs. You guys know it. If you don't know it, you're going to learn it right now. I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morning. Can't you hear the captain shouting? Dinah, blow your horn. Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Strumming on the old banjo and singing fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O. Strumming on the old banjo. Oh my goodness. Before we I'd love to see you smiling at me, which Taylor really wants, as you can see. I just want to share a couple train stories of mine. I've been on some trains in the U.S. Well, I used to go from Peekskill, when we lived in Peekskill, take the train down into New York City. It was about an hour. Around Los Angeles, I sometimes take the train into Los Angeles. There's a train that runs from Upland, where we live, into Los Angeles. I've gone down partway, I think, south. I've gone up to San Francisco on the train. But it was foreign trains that were the most interesting. In 1990, I did a tour in Russia. And we took a train from Kiev, in the Ukraine, up to Leningrad, or St. Petersburg in Russia. That was a long train ride. It was overnight. And it was one wild thing that happened on that train ride. They sometimes stop, and they stopped in this little village, and there were some shops off the train, and they were out of food. When we got on the train, they had no food. And so that was a long train ride. So we decided we would get off at this stop, and they told us we had like 10 minutes. And we got off, and we were buying food to bring on the train with us. And about 5 minutes after we got off the train started moving. It started moving. Everybody running for the train, and we weren't going to get on. And the guy who was our guide, you know, the Russian government would give you guides on your tour, and he actually pulled the big red lever that said, "Stop the train." It's a big deal to do that. You got a whole long train, and he pulled the emergency thing to stop the train. And the train stopped. And we all went running on and got on board. And the conductor came back and was very upset, you know, that somebody had pulled the lever. But we were going to be left behind in this little village, right? That was a wild train ride. We loved that. That was good. And then in China, about 10 years ago, I got to ride on a high-speed train. These things go 150 miles an hour. Whew. Oh my gosh, you get there before you know it. The countryside just flies by. New fast trains. Wow, they're all real sleek. Nothing like this. These old trains, like this picture behind me, you know, they have this kind of flat front with a round and everything. These new ones are like streamlined. They're the real Streamline Cannonballs. Wow. Well, Taylor, you asked for "I love to see you smiling at me." I'm going to do that for you, okay? I love to see you smiling at me like a brilliant star. I love to see you smiling at me. It tells me who you are. The wind may blow and the river may rise, but I won't give in to the sorrow. As long as I see your smiling eyes, I can take tomorrow. I love to see you smiling at me like a brilliant star. I love to see you smiling at me. It tells me who you are. Is everybody smiling? I hope you're smiling, Taylor. Yay. I think maybe we'll just go back to here for now, because I want to show you. You know from my song Nectarine, the nectarines aren't quite ripe, but they're getting very close. But from that song, you might know that we also have an apricot tree. And the apricot tree was covered with apricots this year. And the only problem is that the birds and the squirrels eat, but they don't eat the whole apricot. They bite into the apricot before it's ripe. Can you believe that? Before it's like luscious. So we go out there to pick nice, luscious, ripe apricots right off the tree, and they're not ripe, but there's all these little bites out of them. So I think they got their full, because at the end, the last 40 apricots or so, they weren't biting into anymore. And so we finally got to have some apricots. Can you see them? They're beautiful. Look at this beautiful apricot. Isn't that gorgeous? And it tastes, it's such a happy thing to eat fruit right off the tree. So they gave us permission, the birds and the squirrels, gave us permission to have some untouched apricots at the end. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, it's a really good apricot. What else is going? The nectarines are almost ready. Don't have that many this year. The fig tree is going absolutely berserk. It must have 1,000 figs on it. And they're not ripe yet, but they're ripening. The tree is just growing. It's one of the most vigorous things I've ever seen. We have a hand of bananas that are getting ripe. When we cut them off, we bring them inside to ripen. I'll bring it on so you can see. Tomatoes are ripening, and celery is growing. That's what's going on in our yard. Bananas in pajamas. The Bananas in Pajamas sing a song called Shoe Scram about crows going at the apricots. Stephanie, I need to learn that song and sing it to the... These are... Who are the ones? I think it's mockingbirds and little black phoebes are the ones I think that are going at the apricots in our yard. Yeah. Well, I've spent a couple of the last days of the week helping my son, David, do a project where he's refinishing the inside of this closet that they have. It's kind of a narrow walk-in closet, and he's putting up on the sides. We got pretty much all of this up. This veneered birch, Baltic birch veneered plywood up around. It's just this blonde wood that's so beautiful, and I've been helping him do that. And we've been using all kinds of tools. We've been using a circular saw and a table saw, the flat thing and you run things through, tape measure, all different kinds of measuring devices like woodworking squares to make sure everything's square, and cordless drills and drivers and screws and all kinds of stuff. And he's way more into woodworking than I am, so he's got all these tools and he's teaching me how to use them. So I thought we would revisit this song that I wrote in honor of Dave's tool bench. I have to change my background here. Hang on just a second. Let me get this up. This goes by pretty quick, so I need to make sure I have the lyrics all ready for me. Okay, hold on. Let's change this background, because if we're going to do this, we got to have some tools. This is my tool bench. It's not Dave's. Dave's is much bigger. He's got all kinds of cool stuff. But this is for Dave, my son Dave. In our garage there is a special place where my dad goes with a smile on his face. He spends hours there without a worry or a care in all the world. It might just be his favorite place. It's his tool bench. It's a really cool bench. He's got screwdrivers with Phillips head, slot head, square head, Torx head, and a set of itty-bitty heads too. Hammers and pliers, a rotary sander, 3 right gloves and 1 left-hander, wrenches and drill bits, just take a gander. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's his tool bench. It's a really cool bench. It's where he keeps his glue gun, caulk gun, tape gun, staple gun. He's got a nail gun too. He's got safety glasses to protect his eyes, a tape measure to measure things right to size, and little wood shims if something needs to rise up an extra 1/8 of an inch or more. He's at his tool bench, his really, really cool bench. If he needs to hold things together, he's got rope and string, bungee cords and straps, and those twisty tie things, boxes and trays of nails and screws, nuts and bolts and washers too. There's a special drawer just for glue. Paper glue, wood glue, super glue, epoxies, plastic, metal, and marine epoxies. When something breaks, Daddy takes it to the tool bench. He can usually repair it with something that's there at the tool bench. If he comes back wearing a grin, all radiant and glorious, we know Daddy and the tool bench were victorious. He's at his tool bench, a nobody's fool bench. It's where Daddy keeps his hacksaw, sawzall, circular saw, saber saw. He's got a hacksaw too. Sheet metal shears, wire strippers and cutters, leftover pieces from fixing the gutters. Everything's here, whatever he needs to cover every eventuality. When I grow up, you'll see I'm gonna have me a tool bench too. You gotta have tools, and it helps if you have the right one. Let's see, what do we got here? Well, right here you've got, that's kind of sheet metal shears right there, that blue thing. And of course that's a, what you call that, the expandable wrench. And the blue thing up there, that's what you use to clean off the leads on your car battery. And all kinds of scrapers and oh, that's that, what do you call that? This thing here, with this yellow and black handle. Oh man, it's a keyhole saw, I think, or something. I don't know. It lets you saw into things. Really good for drywall. What we got? Hacksaws and wire cutters and all kinds of screwdrivers and everything. Yep, it's good stuff. I love it. Well, let's see. I think. You know what? We got time for one more song. It's a drywall saw. Thank you, Valerie. Hey, Mo and Elias and the rest of the family. Great. Oh, my gosh. Cool. Well, let's see. Let's end with this. This is for anybody who has a birthday in July. And I'm going to especially send this out to Adam, who has his birthday on Tuesday. And Taylor's been asking for it. We're going to sing it for Adam. was born. On the day that Adam was born. On the day that Adam was born. The angels sang and they blew on their horns and they danced. They danced. They smiled and raised up their hands on the day that Adam was born. Stephanie has a friend named John who has a birthday. On the day that John was born. On the day that John was born. On the day that John was born. The angels sang and they blew on their horns and they danced. They danced. They smiled and raised up their hands on the day that John was born. Right now, somewhere, someone's being born. Somewhere right now, someone's being born. Right now, somewhere, someone's being born. And the angels are singing and they're blowing on their horns and they're dancing. They're dancing. They're smiling and raising up their hands. 'Cause right now, somewhere, someone's being born. Anybody, this is for anybody who has a birthday in July, like Valerie. On the day that Valerie was born. On the day Valerie was born. On the day that Valerie was born. The angels sang and they blew on their horns and they danced. They danced. They smiled and raised up their hands on the day that Valerie was born. Raising up their hands on the day John or Ray was born. Raising up their hands on the day that John was born. Raising up their hands on the day that Taylor was born. Raising up their hands on the day that Adam was born. Raising up their hands on the day each one of us was born. You guys have a great day. Get outside, see what's going on out there today. It's beautiful. What has nature got going on for us today? I don't know. See how much green you can see outside today. All right? You guys have a fabulous day. I'll see you next Thursday. Love you guys. Bye-bye.